Welcome back to the Abundant Behavior Podcast channel. I'm your host, Ali Banks. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how to sell anything. This is the last video you will ever need about selling anything. I know some of you may have clothing brands. You might have a product or a service, and it may not be getting the sales that you want. And you want to know why. Maybe you've been running ads, maybe you've been posting every day, maybe you've been really consistent, but you haven't been getting the result that you want. So today I'm going to show you a few key things that can take you and your business to the next level immediately. When I got back from my deployment in 2019, I worked with this group called World Financial Group, and I sold life insurance. Even though I'm not in that business today, I still use those key elements that I learned on how to sell, and they still work. Right? One of the main things that they taught us was to build rapport. And rapport is just simply getting to know the person. That's getting down to knowing your client. Who are they? Get to know them on a personal side. A lot of times when you meeting people, you get so excited because maybe they're this big person. Maybe it's a good brand deal, and you get real excited. So you start to blurt out numbers. Or I think we can help each other this way, this way. Instead of getting to know that person on a personal level, now they think it's all just about money. And it was simply because you were excited and you overstepped your boundaries a little bit. So step back a little bit, get to know this person on a personal level, and then see how your brand can fit into that. Right? Get the small yeses first. When you're having a conversation and you're trying to sell someone something, the psychology of selling is if you get three small yeses, that fourth yes is guaranteed to be a yes as well. So ask them things like, man, how you like it out here in Southern California or wherever you are? How you like the sun? How's your family? Things like that. But you want to be really genuine. A lot of people buy with emotion. So you always want to connect some emotion to selling. It's not just about logic. You want to connect some type of emotion point to selling. And a lot of times when you get to know people on a personal level, you'll start to see that you guys have more in common than you actually think. And that's when you can sell to a person because it comes to a genuine conversation and you guys start to become friends, in a so to speak. See, a lot of people, when you sit across from them, maybe it's closing a deal. You don't have too long to get the yes. So you have to be able to go in there, find those connection points fast, create that conversation, get those small yeses, and then get that closing yes. You also want to be able to sell to people who want to be sold to. A lot of people are forcing their products on people that don't want these products. Hey, if I had a pen, I would ask you, hey, do you have a pen? If you have a pen, I wouldn't sell you a pen. I'm not about to tell you on how good this pen is. I won't sell you on how the ink is in the pen. There's no point. If you don't need the pen, I can't sell you the pen. And there's a lot of you right now. You're trying to put products on people who don't want them, which brings me to my next point. You have to know who your target audience is. This is probably the main thing that's holding a lot of people back in selling because you don't know who you're selling to. What is your niche? What does your brand represent? Who is that brand made for? Everybody says, "Oh, this is for everybody." That's the wrong mindset to have. You don't want your brand for everybody. You don't want to sell to everybody. You want it to be exclusive. When something is exclusive, psychologically, people like, I want to be a part of that. If everybody is a part of it, nobody wants to take part in it. It's just how it is. So you want your brand to be, this is for them specifically, and you need to know your niche because when you're running ads, or maybe if you're going out to a pop-up shop and you need to get leads, you need to know who you're targeting because you're going to run in a big circle trying to figure out who to sell to when you could have been taking that time learning how to market and actually get it to the people already. So know your brand name. Like this brand, Melanated Military, is a brand that I started behind the awareness of melanated service members. Just a part of the mental health aspect of it, and also to go against a lot of the social injustice that's happening to black and brown people in all branches. This is something that I was affected by personally. And so this is my message. That's my mission statement. So who do I target? Black and brown service members, even white service members, Asian service members. Anybody can get behind this movement. But I know that I'm targeting military service members and veterans. Boom. Now I have my niche. I have my mission statement. What problem am I solving? That's the main focus too. What problem are you solving with your product? If you can't solve a problem with your product, you may get a sale here, a sale there, but people don't see how they can buy into it. You have to solve a problem. Problem minus solution equals wealth. Remember that formula. Problem minus solution equals wealth. So what was my problem? You had a lot of service members who mental health is going unnoticed. You have a lot of service members who feel like it's a lot of social injustice going on, that they're just like they have to be quiet too. They have no voice. So what did I do? I combined the two and made it into a brand. Now it's a safe space for people to come and express themselves. Problem minus solution equals wealth. So you always want to know your niche, who you're selling to, but you also want to know what problem it is solving in the marketplace. If you have a product and you can identify exactly who you're selling to and exactly what problem it's solving, you have a winning product. My next point that I want to get to is about facts tell, stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell. So back to my point about people buy emotionally. You can go off and tell them, oh, this sweatsuit is this thread count, is this color, is real soft, the material. Okay, cool. If they can't see themselves in this product, they probably won't buy it. You can tell them as much as you want. But if I sit back and tell them, hey, when I was in the military in 2019, 2020, around that George Floyd death, it really impacted me a lot. I don't know about you, but I wanted to go out there in peaceful protest with my people as well. But because I was in the military, that wasn't an option for me. I feel like my rights were taken away and they were stripped from me. I'm sure you could agree that if you was in that situation, you would probably feel the same way, right? And you know, this is stuff that's been happening to my people for years. This isn't stuff that just started happening either. That's another reason why I spoke up against this and made this brand. This has been going on for 400 plus years. This problem has needed to be fixed for years. It was a hole in the marketplace, and I found it because it was a very underserved market. It seems like everybody is afraid to speak up against black people. Like even the black people are scared to say, I'm black. I don't understand it. But problem minus solution equals wealth. But facts tell, stories sell. So you don't want to get up there and start spitting off a bunch of facts. You want to find emotional connection points with your brand. Why did you start it? Who is it for? This has to be an emotional story because that's what people buy into. When people buy into who you are as a person, the story, that's when you get consistent clients. Because you can sell to 1 million people one time, but if you don't have recurring clients, you will never make $1 million again. So your story is very important because I know you see a lot of people that pop off, their brand is hot, is here, and then it's gone. It's because the story behind it wasn't an emotional connection point. It was just some really good clothing or just a really good product. But all the big brands have stories attached to them. Ford, everybody knows the story about Ford. He wanted to make this engine that nobody had ever heard of before, so nobody believed that he can do it. But the GM at the time was like, nah, I need all of y'all in here and get this done. And he eventually got it done. That story is global. Everybody knows that story. You have everybody who wants to work for Ford. Everybody who's lined up to work at the plant just because of who Ford is. They have a bad name for their trucks breaking down on the side of the road, but they also have a good connotation behind it as well. But I said that to also say, even if you have bad publicity about your brand, even if people are saying good things about your brand, it doesn't matter. You're going to have those people that stick around with you because of who you are, the integrity that you have, and the story that you have. Just like Ford. People still work for Ford today. I'm sure it was people that didn't like him as well. But that story is crazy. When I read that in the book, I just couldn't believe it. So facts tell, stories sell. Another thing that I want to tell you guys is you have to handle the objections before they come. What does that mean? Think of every problem that somebody could think about your product and try to have a solution for it already before it even comes out. So that way, when they say, hey, man, you know, I think that product is cool, but I think it's just way too expensive for me. And this is how you handle that. I understand that completely. You know, I was in a position before where I thought, you know, that was too much as well. But I sat back and I thought, like, man, that sweatsuit, what it represents is more than a dollar amount. Like, that's priceless, you know? And so I was like, okay, let me go ahead and make that investment to purchase it. And now I can be a part of the movement as well. I'm sure you could agree that you're a type of person, like, you could be a part of that movement as well. You could see yourself, you know, a part of that and pushing that as well, right? And they're going to say, you know what, you're right. I can see myself in that, you know? Boom. And that's how you handle that objection. You put them in, you put it back on you, put them in your shoes, let them know you understand. And then You proceed to try to close them again. 9 times out of 10 at this point, they have no more objections. They have no more no's. And at this point, you can close them on a sale. When it comes to online selling, you have to be engaged with your selling every single day. It should not be a day that goes by that you aren't pushing your products out there, that you aren't showing who you are, that you aren't pushing your brand. Because if you can get on social media every day and post a celebrity, if you can get on every day and post a meme, if you can get on there every day and laugh at something, if you have a brand and you're a small brand owner and you aren't getting sales, you should be pushing your brand. People that have clothing brands, wear your brand. Nobody's going to believe in the brand if you don't believe in the brand. I probably have worn my sweatsuits every day since I've started this brand, simply because I believe in the brand and it looks nice. I made it. This is me. Why wouldn't I want to represent my brand? You have to fall into believing into your own brand before anybody else does. Another thing as well, comparison is a thief of all joy. Never get caught up in comparing yourself to other people, because when you get caught up, oh, they making this amount of sales, I'm not really making no sales, it makes you think that it's you. And it's not you per se. It's the way that you're selling. It's not the brand. The brand is great. You're great. You're a great person. It's the way that you're selling. The way that you get to a result is it has to be a specific way to get to that result. And don't try to remake the roadmap. Just follow the blueprint that has already been laid out for you. Let me ask you a question. If I told you I found a gold brick in my backyard in a specific spot, would you go in my backyard and start digging random holes, or would you try to go right to that spot that I pinpointed? You're probably going to go to that spot that I pinpointed, and you're going to dig up that gold right in that spot. It makes no sense to go around and create something new when I have already found the gold. And that's the same thing when it comes to these steps of selling. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just add your own spin to it as you go along. Find new ways to make it yours. And I want to share one last story with you guys. And I read this in the book, Think and Grow Rich. And I want to leave you guys with this. It was a story about a man who stopped 3 feet from gold. So it was this guy, he was a gold miner, and he bought this machine to mine gold, and he went down into this cave to mine this gold. You know, he was digging, and he kept on digging, and eventually he found one gold nugget. He was like, oh man, I gotta be getting closer. He starts to hit the wall, boom, boom. He starts breaking it, no luck. He goes again, boom, boom, no luck. He's like, I ran into a dead end. So he gives up. The man ended up leaving the cave and selling his equipment to a man, telling him his story like, man, I found one gold nugget down here. I could never. So the man was like, okay, let me go back and take this machine and go back down here. So this is what the man did. He took it a step further. This man took his machine equipment. He went and got a specialist who specialized in finding gold and took the man down to this cave and told him, hey man, he said he found it right here. So the guy was like, okay, he examined it. He was like, man, if that guy would have kept digging 3 more feet, he would have ran into a wall of gold. And so the man he ended up selling to ended up becoming wealthy. And it just goes to show you that a lot of times with your goals and a lot of times with your brand, you're right there. You're right there, and a lot of people stop right before that big breakthrough. So if this is you and you're watching this and you was about to give up, you didn't really think that the brand was working, I want you to say to yourself, I can't stop 3 feet from gold. And if you believe in Jesus Christ, if you believe in God, I want you to say, I can do all things through Jesus Christ who strengthens me every day, until you have the confidence to go forth and push your brand how it's supposed to be. You can't get caught up in the right now and let it rob you of your future. You know, they say you have to see it in your hand. They say you have to see it in your head before you see it in your hand. But what does that mean? You have to envision what you want your brand to look like, envision what you want your life to look like, and that is the life that you have to go out and attract every single day. And how you attract this is by getting up and doing something every day. Getting up and believing every day that, hey, I didn't make it today, but tomorrow I am. And if you get up the next day and it's not the day, well, hey, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and it will be. You have to fall in love with the journey of getting up and doing something. The journey is the most important part of it. A lot of people see the end result on social media. Oh, he blew up overnight. But they didn't see how they was grinding in the dark behind closed doors. So you have to get with yourself, figure out which ways you need to get better. Get better every day. Push your brand. Take these steps, and you will be on your way to sell.